Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. This is for educational purpose only. This is the case of the Idaho quadruples. May the 4 victims rest in peace. Condolence to the families, and may the correct justice be served. I'd like to start by thanking all my subscribers, viewers, for all your support, your kind comments. I apologize, I'm on a vacation in Turkey, Antalya, so I'll try and get back to all the comments. I really appreciate everyone who left a comment. I came across the latest update from Code TV, and I wouldn't say I'm shocked. I would say more like I'm happy that the truth is revealing, and I hope that more and more gets exposed before the trial comes up. It's shocking that there are discussions still going on about moving the trial to Idaho County. What is it that Latah County is so scared of? You're actually making us start to believe that Brian Christopher Koberger could actually be innocent. Why is the prosecutor and his team fighting against moving the trial? Because if he is certain that Brian Christopher Koberger did it, then why not give him a fair trial in Idaho County? If he's guilty, so be it. Every human being is entitled to a fair trial, especially when it's a death penalty case. I want you all to listen to this clip a bit because it's shocking. The results has come out of what some of the people answered in their surveys that the defense team of Brian Koberger sent around.
Maddie and Kaylee were 4 friends living together in an off-campus house at the University of Idaho. They worked hard and were all flourishing as students and having the time of their lives. They were popular, and their house was known as a gathering spot for fellow students. All of that tragically changed in the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. Those 4 students were stabbed to death inside of their own home. The brutal crime shook the community and touched the nation, setting off an intense manhunt for a killer. Students were afraid to be alone on campus. Some never came back. Investigators from the Moscow Police Department joined forces with the Idaho State Police and the FBI, following every lead, every tip, and every piece of evidence. On campus, some never came back.
Pay attention to what the judge just said on Code TV. She said that when the quadruples happened, most of the students went home and some never came back. Now picture this, a quadruple happened. 4 innocent students, victims, lost their life, who were university students. And everyone was allowed to go home or wherever they felt like right after the quadruples on Thanksgiving break. Now, how do they know who went home, if they were innocent or if they're involved, if they had any information or not, or if they did not even come back? Why did it take the FBI 5 days to intervene? Obviously, it's because Idaho detectives thought they did not need the help of the FBI for whatever reason. That's why I personally believe we are still 2 years ahead and $1 short. Idaho Mosque is a small town with 40K or 44K population. What made them believe that they did not need the FBI? It's not like this quadruples happen in New York or California or big cities and states. This happened in Moscow, Idaho, a university city or town. But yet the detectives did not believe. They needed help from the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigations that has the most resources, who have the behavior profile unit, who have the experts with the expertise. Yet Chief Fry and his team decided, no, we can handle this. They took 5 days to contact the FBI.
Students were afraid to be alone on campus. Some never came back. Investigators from the Moscow Police Department joined forces with the Idaho State Police and the FBI, following every lead, every tip, and every piece of evidence. That investigation took them across the country to Pennsylvania and led them to this man, a grad student at a neighboring university in Pullman, Washington. This accused mass killer has denied the allegations and is awaiting trial. Today, Brian Kohlberger and his attorneys were back in court to argue that his upcoming trial should be moved from Latah County. Good evening and welcome to Closing Arguments. I'm Judge Ashley Wilcott, in tonight for Vinnie Politan. We begin tonight in Moscow, Idaho, where accused quadruple murderer Brian Kohlberger was in court today for a change of venue motion hearing. Now, as of now, the trial is set to be held in Latah County, where the town of Moscow and the University of Idaho are located. And it is where this horrible tragedy took place. The defense has argued that the media coverage of the case in Latah County has created a mob mentality and that the residents feel a certain pressure to convict their client. In the defense's motion, they included quotes from some of Latah County residents they surveyed when asked what would happen if Brian Kohlberger was not convicted. Listen to how some of those residents responded. First quote, "They'd burn the courthouse down. Outrage would be a mild description. They would probably find him and kill him." Here's another one. "There would likely be a riot and he wouldn't last long outside because someone would do the good old boy justice." Enraged, strong opinions, firing of officers. And finally, riots. Parents would take care of him. So the question is, will the trial be moved to Ada County, which is more than 300 miles away, where the defense says there's been significantly less media coverage? Judge John Judge will be ruling on that based on what he heard in today's hearing.
We've been primarily asked to look at the, without even being hyperbolic, would say an extreme amount of media coverage, its impact on a population or a community, and a statistical volume of that media exposure on various communities across the U.S., but focused on several counties within. Yes, a person in Latah County would be exposed to far more media coverage than people, a community in Ada County.
Based on the data that you're seeing, is this story waning in the news?
No. In fact, if we could make one more line on any of these media coverage over time charts, you would see an upslope on the first one, this chart. So you already see it ticking up when I compare Latah to Ada. If we could bring that chart forward to today, you would see that going up. And that will be consistent anytime this case has significant news or a significant hearing in Latah and Idaho County, it will be of interest. would say that the delta or the difference between Latah and Ada County will continue to be statistically similar. It will probably potentially always be of greater interest in Latah County than in Ada County.
So for the first 6 months, Ada County did have, at times, fairly significantly more media coverage than Latah County.
Correct.
So my role was to evaluate how publicity about a case could shape potential jurors when they come in and sit on the panel. What we found in research over many, many years, decades, is that if somebody has any kind of indicator of authority, even if it's something as minor as height, but certainly, an occupational status, title, that people will take their words so far that they'll do things to contradict their own morals, and they'll be influenced in areas beyond the person's expertise, like a doctor influencing you in your relationships or something that's totally irrelevant. And so we take it a little bit too far. And in the case of Moscow and Latah County, the authority figures are often going to be people who are known and well trusted, and so that makes this effect even potentially more problematic. And as you know, Chief Fry, the chief of the police at the time, had said that he was certain that he arrested the right suspect and he didn't have any doubts. And so the community would say, okay, well, the chief of police is sure, so then I can be sure too.
There's a lot of pictures of Mr. Koberger in the media. Do you mean that when we walk into trial and the room's full of potential jurors, there's going to be a great majority of them that before we sit down are going to have a feeling of bias against Mr. Koberger?
Yeah, I do. We've seen the pictures, these ominous headlines, and that connection can't help but be made.
Based on your years of teaching human bias and your extensive study of human bias, do you have an opinion about whether the extensive pretrial publicity has impacted the Latah County jury pool?
I do. I think it would be so hard to be a member of that community and be able to come in and be objective, and arguably impossible. So we don't have a known method for undoing things, and the things have been done. They've felt the emotions, they've seen the publicity, they've had the discussions, they've been to the vigils, and even if they want to be as objective as possible, and even if we disregard some of the limitations I talked about before, research has not uncovered a way to undo this after it's there. And so the recommended best practice by the vast majority of researchers on this topic is find people who don't have that information.
Thank God that they're finally noticing what we have been saying all along on social media. Brian Christopher Koberger ain't going to get a fair trial in Latah County, so they better quit what they're on. This isn't fair. This is bias for Brian Christopher Koberger. This is bias for getting justice for the 4 innocent victims. This is not justice. This is really bias. They have already tried, prosecuted, and executed Mr. Brian Christopher Koberger in the pre-trial. Forget about the trial. What is actually going on? You have a human behavior expert saying that he's not going to get a fair trial. You have many experts coming on and saying Koberger ain't going to get a fair trial. And I'll tell you the reason he won't get a fair trial. It's because the people, the students who were there when this horrific quadruples happened will love to go home. I've said that almost in 2 years. Some may not have even come back, or some did not actually come back. How do we know that they were innocent, that they weren't involved? How do we know that they weren't witness? How do we know that they weren't scared to talk? How do we know that they didn't have injuries on their body and on their face and everywhere? What is it with Idaho, Moscow that they don't want a fair trial? I believe they just want to pin it on someone, and they don't care who. Maybe Brian Christopher Koberger because he was at the wrong place at the wrong time? Could that be possible? Although I still believe Koberger ain't 100% innocent. This is what is shocking. Comes now Brian C. Koberger by and through his attorneys of record, hereby submits this reply to state's objection to his motion for change of venue. The pressure to convict Brian Koberger is so severe that later county survey respondents said if he wasn't convicted, now pay attention, if he wasn't convicted, this is what they were going to do. The later county residents, not all of them, but some of them, one of the Sigma Chi fraternities in it, one of the Jacks, the Adam, Jake, the grub truck people, the Banfield boys. I wonder, allegedly, if they could be putting in their opinions, if this is coming from them, because this is a mob mentality, just like the judge said. The pressure to convict Brian Koberger is so severe that later county surveyor responded and said if he wasn't convicted, number one, they'd burn the courthouse down. Outrage would be a mild description. Wow. Now, what does that line show? They burn the courthouse down. Outrage would be a mild description. That shows anger, people who are aggressive, people who are unpredictable, people who don't respect the law, people who are willing to take the law into their own hands like the Wild Wild West. And guess what? Second, they said they will probably find him and unalive him. On top of that, 4 people are unalived and they want to unalive the 5th person. Why? Is it because Koberger is innocent? In fact, y'all are making Koberger look innocent. I've always had 50% doubt that BK is involved, but now I'm starting to have 70% doubt that he ain't involved. Wagwan, what is on with Idaho, Moscow? Is there something in the water? Wanting to burn down courthouses? What are y'all, living in the Wild Wild West? Outrage would be a mild description. Wow. And y'all would probably find him and unalive him. Be careful what y'all say. You can't unalive anyone. And y'all are in fact showing anger, violence, aggressive behavior. That makes me believe this behavior sounds like what exactly happened at the quadruples. Is that the rage y'all felt for E, Xana, K, and Maddie? Is that the rage, the outrage y'all had? They would probably find him and unalive him. And then there would be likely be a riot. And he wouldn't last long outside because someone would do the good old boy justice. Is that the justice y'all did for the 4 innocent victims that y'all want to bring upon BK? Now don't blame me. This is all my opinion. And this is not only my opinion as Hugh de London. This is my opinion as a mental health counselor. This, just like the human behavior therapist, I'm a cognitive behavior therapist, so I deal with behavior too. And this is sickening. If people already have feelings like that, there's underlying symptoms. There's some kind of sickness going on here that they want this man gone without giving him a fair trial. Now that would concern me if I'm the prosecutor. Is this why, Mr. William Thompson, is this why you wanted all this to disappear? Is this why you were having an outrage that the defense attorney, Ann Taylor, was doing a survey to see how biased Latah County is, which you all are. And I believe Ann Taylor is doing a wonderful job. Every human being deserves their justice. Koberger could have been easily framed. There would likely be a riot and wouldn't last long outside because someone would do the good old boy justice. No, mate, ain't happening. Enrage, strong opinions, firing of officers. Riots, parents would take care of him. Which parents? Steve Gonzalez, who thought that BK came with the kill kit? The mob mentality within the community is the exact reason that statutory grounds prior to selecting the jury exists to move venue. I would say immediately, ASAP, move it. Judge, you can see how unfair this is. These people are actually trying to unalive BK without him getting a fair trial. They burned down the courthouse. In fact, y'all should go and investigate who filled out these surveys. David Lodge, was it you, allegedly? Or was it David B. who filled it out with you? It could look like something Jack D. could have written himself to, allegedly. Who was part of the surveys? I'm sure it was all the people who participate in this horrific quadruples. We want justice, and we want the proper justice for the 4 victims. We want justice, and we want the proper justice for BK. They've already convicted this man without him getting the fair trial that he's entitled to. Now, this mob mentality looks like, I personally believe, guys, now I'm saying this is my opinion. This is all for education purpose. The same facts. Everything I'm reading to you all out from here is from Co-TV. That is facts. My opinion starts from here. This mentality, what is written here, as a cognitive behavior therapy, I would say is underlining things going on. I personally believe these are the people, whoever filled these surveys, are part of these crimes. Either the people who did it, allegedly, or the people who knew about it, or there were people who wanted the 4 victims gone. So Latah County mob mentality, people who fill this survey want to burn down courts. That doesn't happen. Although I'm not an American, I know that doesn't happen in America. You can't burn down our courts. This is the frat behavior. This is Idaho Moscow students' behavior. Scott Green, where were you when your students are behaving like that? With rage. They're representing York University in such a terrible manner. I know it could have been anyone from Latah County who filled these surveys, but I don't think so. I believe it's the students, because they ran and told Daddy. They called William Thompson. Oh, we got a survey. It says this and this. I'm really upset, guys. This is really getting annoying. We want the correct justice. We just don't want another innocent person being unalived like the 4 we are trying to get justice for. If they know Brian Koberger is guilty, then take him to Idaho court. Convict him. The trial hasn't even started and these people want to burn down courthouses. Outrage would be a mild description. They all need therapy here. This is really upsetting, guys. I believe these are the people who did it. And I really believe it shows that, just like Code TV said, many of the students didn't even return from the Thanksgiving vacation. And you heard clearly, most of the people believe that Brian Christopher Koberger did this horrific, tragic quadruples because our friend Chief Fry said that. So they expect Chief Fry to be on point. Wasn't it Chief Fry who said, the girls, the surviving roommates, were not witnesses, they were just there. 6 weeks later, he made them witnesses. That's why he never showed his face again. At least Idaho County, there's a big difference between Idaho County, its population, the people living there and everything, compared to the county that wants to burn down the court. Let's not forget, their words, not mine. Later County. Sir William Thompson, I think it's about time you retired, because it doesn't seem like you want a fair justice here. And that is unfair for everyone in this case. Very unfair. They were discussing this in court. This case has generated significant content and discussion on social media. Yes, it has. And yes, it will. That's one of the reasons I've hardly moved on to any case. William Thompson, I ain't going anywhere. Me and my channel are going to be here to find out exactly why your people want to burn down courthouses. Why your people, the people who are doing surveys and snitching to you. We want to know what's going on. Social media is keeping this case alive. Yes, we do a bit damage control. Yes, we do make mistakes and errors sometime. But most likely, we want justice. We want justice for the 4 students. We want justice for the families. And we want justice for Brian Christopher Koberger's family and his family. His parents, everyone. The mainstream media has been acting like the mob mentality too. So there's obviously going to be a greater interest in this case in Latah County. For different reasons, because I can understand this happened in their town. Definitely. It affected them more than anyone else. But is that the only reason? Or is it because they want to pin this on Brian Christopher Koberger because it's the students who did it, allegedly, the frats, the 4 figures running? And that won't be allegedly. 4 figures running was a fact that they're trying to avoid. Why don't they want to change venue? They want to drag this case for another 15 years, I guess. And just like the human behavior expert said, people can be biased for any reason. Height, weight, skin color, religion, gender, education, career. I think Brian Christopher Koberger is getting a lot of heat because he's a criminologist student, because he was a crime and justice student. It's like me getting heat because I'm a mental health counselor, and that isn't fair. What he studied and his career should be put aside to the crimes. Yes, he would know about crimes, but that doesn't necessarily mean he did it. Maybe he knew about it. Maybe he came out with the master plan. Only God knows. But I want to know why these people want to burn down courthouses. That proves to me that Brian Christopher Koberger could be possibly innocent.
It's a little bit too far. And in the case of Moscow and Latah County, it's really small community, right? And so the authority figures are often going to be people who are known and well trusted. And, so that makes the effect even potentially more problematic. And, as you know, Chief Fry, the chief of the police at the time, had said that he was certain that he arrested the right suspect and he didn't have any doubts. And so the community would say, okay, well, the chief of police is sure, so then I can be sure too.
There's a lot of pictures of Mr. Koberger in the media. Do you mean that when we walk into trial and the room's full of potential jurors, there's going to be a great majority of them that before we sit down are going to have a feeling of bias against Mr. Koberger?
Yeah, I do. We've seen the pictures, these ominous headlines. That connection can't help but be made.
Of course, people in Latah County, most of them have made up their mind. Because these people want to pin it on someone. Koberger, for whatever reason, was the one they chose to pin it on. He could be involved, but where's the fair trial? Why don't you move the county? Why are the people who are conducting these surveys, the people who are filling out these surveys, participating in the surveys, why are they contacting Big Daddy? Why are they calling the prosecutor and reporting that they got the survey? And now they want to burn down courts. Now that's serious. That is really serious. And she's right. The expert is right. Chief Fry came out himself saying, yeah, we got the right guy. Now, if anyone has anything more to say, now you'll know his name, so please come in with information. That's what he said. When he, William Thompson, the chief of Idaho, the senior chief of Idaho State Police, when they all were standing the day Koberger got arrested in Pennsylvania, y'all heard clearly what the prosecutor, William Thompson, said. Now everyone, note down the name. If you'll know anything about Koberger and the white car, feel free to speed dial a number. He didn't say speed dial, but that's what he actually meant. This isn't fair. Why didn't y'all call the FBI? The first day, second day, maybe third day? What about the fourth day? Why did y'all call the FBI after 5 days? Chief Fry, former chief, you are certain that it was Koberger who did this. And now people want to burn down the courthouses. Your courthouses. The place you represent. The badge that you all carry. Chief Fry was the one who said, I didn't say that the surviving roommates are witness. I said they were just there. Now, those are big words. I would have just, if I was the defense attorney, when this trial starts, I would have started from there. Ann Taylor needs to use the press conference on them and fry them with it. Chief Fry needs to be fried with his own medicine. Chief Fry, was DM and BF witnesses or were they just there? Was this allegedly an inside job? Who left the front door open? Who were the 4-5 figures running? What were your boys doing on the band field? I know it was an alcohol swap, but every team seemed to be really suspicious. You had 4 figures running. You had Saeed watching crime scene pictures of Kaylee Gonzalez, may she rest in peace, sitting in the bed. Sitting on Maddie's bed. She was leaning on the wall. Enough is enough. Stop blaming Brian Koberger. If he's involved, then give him the fair trial he deserves. I'm supposed to be enjoying my vacation in Ontario. Chief Fry. This is a no-no. You and your prosecutor and your crew have mishandled this case from the start in a very bad way. How did you let your students go out on Thanksgiving break when there is an active crime scene and an active suspect or suspects out on the loose? How did you all handle this case? It's not handled like the other states. Why you're pretending that you'll deal with quadruples very often? This is the first quadruple you'll dealt with. You'll only have 44K people living in your little populated little town. Why didn't y'all call the FBI? Did y'all think y'all were the FBI? Did y'all call the FBI when y'all messed up everything? Allegedly? What really happened that night? Why was Eaton found on the corridor? Don't listen to some YouTube creators who say that they speak to the frats and the sororities. Like what's obsession? That is untrue. You can clearly see. The pictures mostly was taken in the corridor. Ashley Banfield told us that E was found between the room and the corridor from our sources. And my research is on point, I believe. Something happened in the corridor. Look at the drinks on the window. I really believe that E and Xana were chilling at home. And somebody must have come from the front door, from downstairs, and ran upstairs and charged on them. E must have been running to the corridor to save Xana, to tell her to close the door, but it was too late. That is just my opinion. And it's not far-fetched. I love reading pictures. Pictures sell me everything. Active listening sells me more. The forensic team were busy at the living room for a very long time and Xana's room. Why? You can see the forensic team taking pictures. This woman keeps on bending down. There's the toilet there. It's the corridor, the toilet, and Xana's room. E was found on the corridor, and I don't care what people try to tell us on YouTube that are bringing rumors from the frats and the sororities, which I personally believe are involved. I would never be working with someone that is dishonest. So just because some people are getting information from Hunter and some people, that doesn't say it's a gospel. That's not the word of the gospel or any holy book. So people need to stop getting news from the frats and the sororities unless you are taking news to them. How dare do people work with people who are supposed to be considered as suspects, who are running around, 5 figures running?
Email reporters that they saw this door right here, the front door of the house, wide open at around 8:30 in the morning on November 13th, that Sunday, hours after 4 people in that house would be murdered and before their bodies would be discovered. The murders are suspected to have taken place between 3 and 4 a.m. That is an approximation, and as of right now, we don't have any other information to indicate how long this door might have been left ajar. And here's how this new detail could potentially change things. You'll remember that in the early days of the investigation, pretty much everyone was suspicious about why the 2 roommates downstairs on the first floor were alive and unharmed. Many people moved on from those suspicions when we learned that allegedly investigators believe the killer entered through this sliding glass door on the 2nd floor or one of the nearby windows also on the 2nd floor. The murders took place on the 2nd floor and the 3rd floor. The 2 surviving roommates lived on the 1st floor. So the theory there is, if the killer entered on the 2nd floor and then went upstairs and then exited through the 2nd floor, they would have had no need to go to that bottom floor. But if this front door right here on the 1st floor was used by the killer, either on their way in or on their way out, we are back at square one with questions as to why these 2 first floor roommates were not harmed. Now,
why was the front door left open? Wide open. if the suspect or suspects came from the back door, it makes sense that just for example, BF must have heard the screaming, yelling, understood what was going on, and she must have ran from the front door. And I'll tell you why I could easily believe that. Because the tripod that were recording from behind the house, the tripod cameras were just running. Nobody was there, obviously. The next day, when they checked their cameras, they saw a woman running hysterically from this house. And there was a truck in front of the house. And the woman had blonde hair. DM or BF? Make your pick. Or could it be Kaylee or Maddie trying to run out and they could have been dragged back in? We don't know. But make this make sense. The front door is very crucial in this case. Most of my clips that I talk about, the front door I always mention, the corridor where the forensic team are taking pictures is something I always mention because I really believe that the answers lie around these places. The front door, who left it open? Was the front door used to come in or go out? Was E and Xana chilling in the living room and they heard somebody coming? Or was actually E chilling with the frats in the Sigma Chi and was Xana at home? I really wonder if it's a grub truck crew that was standing outside. Look at number 9 and Maddie. I wonder if it was them who filled out the surveys. Was Kaylee trying to take a picture and tell us something? When you take a selfie of yourself, you don't put the camera that high. And pay attention to how Jack Showalter is trying to avoid the camera. Pay attention. They don't want to be on camera. Smiley on camera. See? He's turning away clearly. Showalter, what do you have in your jacket that is bulging out? Could it be a K-bar, allegedly? The human behavior expertise on Code TV clearly said that, for example, Chief Fry, that obviously his community and his town look up to him and they trust him, said that Brian Koberger did it. So that's why they believed it. They believe it. Or they believe that Koberger did it. Look at how unfair that is. Have you noticed how Chief Fry always looked uncertain about this case from the very beginning? Because maybe it was Brian Koberger who did it. And he knew he messed up by taking 5 days to call the FBI. Now pay attention to the questions he's been asked and how he answers them. The first messed up thing is he clearly told the reporter, I didn't say the surviving roommates are witness. I said they were there. So if they were not witness and they were just there, when did DM become a witness? You can't become a witness 7 weeks later, Chief. Wagwan, what is really happening here?
Hi, Heather Roberts with ABC News. Just to follow up on what she asked, so the other 2 roommates were there at the time of the attack?
All the information we have from our investigation is that yes, they were.
Okay, but they were unhurt?
That is correct.
So is there any explanation as to why it took so long then for someone to call 911? You have surviving witnesses to an incident at 3 or 4 in the morning and the 911 call didn't come until noon?
I don't think I ever said that they were witnesses. I said they were there. we don't know why that call came in at noon and not in the middle of the night. Would we love for that to have happened? Yes, but that's not how it took place. So that's why we're investigating everything still to try to pull all the pieces together.
Were they one of the people, were they the 911 caller?
At this point in time, I'm not going to divulge who our 911 caller is, just because I want to keep the integrity of the investigation at this point, okay?
Okay. And last question, are you able to tell whether the same weapon was used on all 4 victims?
You know, that's why we're having the autopsies done. The autopsy will confirm that and hopefully collect some evidence for us, even from those. That's why you do the autopsies, is to try to be thorough and try to gather more. So we'll leave that would probably be something that would come out later.
Chief, don't explain to us what you do when autopsies. We know why autopsies are conducted and done to get the results that the detectives are searching for. Let me help out the reporter. The reporter asks you, Chief, a clear and direct question. There were 2 surviving roommates in the house. She said there are 2 surviving witnesses, and are you trying to say none of them called 911? What did you say, Chief? You replied by saying, I didn't say they were surviving roommates, surviving witness. You said, I just said they were there. So if they were there and they were not witnesses like you were saying, when did they become witnesses is my question from day one, Chief. This doesn't make sense. You said they weren't witnesses, but yet again, 7 weeks later, DM is your favorite witness?
Heather Roberts with ABC News. Just to follow up on what she asked, so the other 2 roommates were there at the time of the attack?
All the information that we have from our investigation is that yes, they were.
Okay, but they were unhurt.
That's correct.
So is there any explanation as to why it took so long then for someone to call 911? You have surviving witnesses to an incident at 3 or 4 in the morning, and the 911 call didn't come until noon?
I don't think I ever said that they were witnesses. I said they were there. I don't think I ever said that they were witnesses. I said they were there. I don't think I ever said that they were witnesses. I said they were there. So
they were just there, but they weren't witnesses. So were they part of the crime, Chief? Were they involved? Were they bystanders? What were they, Chief? I hope you're preparing for the trial, Chief. You have a lot of explaining to do.
Chief, if you don't mind elaborating a bit more on those 2 people. Was it 2 people? What have those people shared about the circumstances of that night, what they saw or didn't see?
Well, I'm not going to go into what they shared that night. Obviously, that's part of our investigation. That's part of the information that we're trying to build our complete story with. So, as far as that goes, we're not going to go any further on what they know, what they don't know.
What did he say, Chief? I'm not going to go further into that because you're investigating this. Were you investigating this, or did you need time to talk to Prosecutor William Thompson, decide when you're ready to call the FBI, and you'll needed time to decide if the 2 roommates, if you wanted to make them witnesses or surviving roommates, or is that what it is? Both the press conferences sounded unprofessional, and both the press conferences from the start made us actually notice that there's something severely wrong in this whole case, that they're hiding something. I'm going to call it what it is supposed to be called, maybe a cover-up. Somebody is not forthcoming. That's why people want to burn down courthouses. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you all think about the mob-like behaviors from Idaho, Moscow County. They want to burn down courthouses. They said the parents are going to take justice. We're going to take justice in the old-fashioned way with this old boy. And what is happening? Are they rapping you? Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a lovely day. May the 4 victims get the correct and only the correct justice. And may Brian Christopher Koberger get the correct justice.